All right. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
All right. Sounds like we got someone with a clock in the background. I hear TikTok keeping our
I
keeping our
just
cadence.
muted that line.
Okay. That's awesome. Keeping us on pace. Um, no, this is awesome, guys. I had to get to somewhere this morning, so I'm in my but but man, I have I have received such wonderful feedback. Um, Last month I thought I had a lot. This month or last LVA, then this month's been awesome, and we got some pretty good registrations for next month. So our numbers are increasing. I think things are just getting better and better. I just wanted to continue this call. I think this call is kind of the main reason why that is growing and doing well. We used to do a host call separate, a presenter's call separate, and then we would kind of discuss between the two. And we found that if we can put all the hosts, all the presenters on one call and discuss things, give the correct attaboys, so to speak, where needed, and the corrections where needed, and just push things forward, it's been really good. So first of all, from me to you, thank you so much for what you're doing. We know the effort and energy it takes. We ran these for so long without a system in place. We just ran something similar because we know the value of a monthly training, and it was so neat to be able to see all this come together and turn into something that will be eventually global. The online platform has allowed us to expand into Canada, and we're looking at some other means in Australia and Puerto Rico. And so it's just going to get better and better at taking information that we know works, right? We're not taking something that we're going to try out or test out. We're taking a system that works and just duplicating it throughout all of our businesses. And something we hope you gain confidence in as a host or a presenter or anyone else in the business as a distributor. We would love to be able to watch you enroll and grow your business outside of just your little hometown, knowing that they're going to get training or can get to a training in their hometown, in their area. And that training will be the same thing you're getting in your hometown, and the same consistent, duplicatable message, obviously sent from a different voice and a different personality and different stories. That's the beauty of it. But the consistency there is something that we want. And we're seeing that across the board. There's little differences here and there, and that's fine. But all in all, I think people are very happy with it. And so this platform is a place to really to share best practices. If there's something specifically that we need to fix or change or give attention to in your area, you're welcome to get with, send that to Mikey in an email. She'll get it to myself, Marcel, whatever needed, and we'll make corrections where needed. But mostly this is designed, if there's something we need to discuss on here that affects everyone, that's wonderful to talk about too. But the biggest thing is best practices. What is working? What can you do as a presenter to help other presenters? What's working as a host that you can share that will help other hosts? Friday night gets brought up a lot because there's a little bit of leeway there as to what would work best in your area. We've had some wonderful trainings. We've had some great opportunity meetings. And so it's another platform to share some best practices on Friday night, as well as things you do Saturday to make it better. So let me start with this. We have a few more people that just jumped on. So let's first of all cover a topic, because I have a couple topics I want to cover, and then we'll go into best practices here. But be thinking about those for us, because if you can share, again, just 30 seconds, a minute, share something concise that we can all learn from. Some of the big topics are pre-enrollments are huge. The better that goes, the better we know, and what's coming, and the better we can help your area. The Friday night meeting's been a big topic. Just setting the stage on for everything on Saturday. The way that you delegate as a host down to your team to help you is key, and how the front desk is ran and those things. We've developed this. I should say you guys have helped develop this by giving those best practices and us taking that into account. So I have asked Mikey, though, before we get started, the first topic I would like to cover is the online portion of this. It's kind of new. Word is still getting out. And my biggest thing that I'll start off that topic with is that online does not, it's not replacing what's going on in your hometown, right? We're not wanting the person who lives a block from the live meeting that's already taking place, the live LVA. We don't want someone to choose that option because it's easier. Okay, the idea of this is to expand into areas that aren't getting LVA, right? We have groups in Alaska and groups in Canada. And I think we had a call the other day, and Dan, I think, said it right. If you're 6 hours away or 12 hours away and can't get to one, then by all means, there's an online portion. But if there's still means to get to shake hands and see, and lock arms with people and look at them in the eyes and do things that you just can't do on a recording or on a Zoom, then by all means, that's what it's for. So anyways, that's my first thought. I have asked Mikey to share a few things because there are some little places where people are getting hung up a little bit with the online once they register for it. And so Mikey's going to share a little bit with us on some things that she has done as the customer service portion of that to walk people through and help them. This may be something you can help walk them through, or even during the sign-up process, we found that if they use a certain email and certain things, it goes smoother. So Mikey, I'll turn it to you for a few minutes and let us know the best practices here that you found with the online. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Blue. So hi everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. And as Blue asked me to share a couple of things that I've been doing on my end to make sure that this process is a little bit smoother. One thing that we found, is that YouTube is a little picky when it comes to the private videos. So that's something we can't really control because it's not a platform that we've created. We just got to work through the guidelines of YouTube, and that's, pretty much what they created. So we got to go along with that. So one of the things that I found out as we started to work in November is that, first of all, it's better for anybody that's trying to pre-register to use a Gmail account. Because I found out that if people try to use any email domain that's like Yahoo or Hotmail, a lot of times they're not going to be receiving the email from YouTube. And the reason behind that, I really don't know what it is. And sometimes they do receive the email if it's a Hotmail or a Yahoo account or anything else, but they go through the whole process to access the video and they can still not get to the video for some reason. So when I do ask them to, if they report the problem to me and I send an email saying, okay, give me a Gmail account, and they give me the Gmail account, I send it out again, the same link. They go through the same process and they're able to access the video. So I don't know why. Gmail is just more compatible with YouTube, and it's pretty much I think the only email and the best email to make it work from the beginning, so that there is not a lot of back and forth. Another thing is that if they do provide a Gmail account and they cannot find the email from YouTube, there are 3 different folders on their inbox, and one of those folders is the social folder. And a lot of times, if they have not turned that feature off, it will, the email from YouTube is going to be landing under that social folder. So that's another place that they can look if they don't find the email from YouTube. Another thing that we found out as well is that sometimes they're trying to access the video from a phone or an iPad, and they're still not able to access it a lot of times if they're using one of those devices. So the best way to get it right, I would recommend using a laptop or a computer, a desktop that they have at home. So those are just like a few things that we can do on our end, and advise people to do it, before they even get pre-registered for the online training. So what we have been doing is we send out the training on Saturday morning, and it stays live from Saturday until Sunday at 11:59 Mountain Time. But since we have been having a lot of issues with people not being able to access the videos, we're leaving it for the whole week after the weekend because we've been receiving a lot of reports of people not being able to access the video, and a few of those issues are the ones that I just reported to you guys. So I hope this helps. I hope that we can work through it, and as we go, people can learn and not have as many issues that they've had so far. But it's been working. A lot of people are able to get it from the beginning. I'm just sharing some of the things that we've seen along the way, from the past 3 months that we had the online training.
Thank you, Mikey. Here's my thoughts, and Mikey had some firsthand experience with that, and the first 2 times I actually was home, and my assignment that weekend was to do the online as opposed to an area, because we did have calls. So we are finding this. Let me just throw my 2 cents in on some of those topics, because we are finding that there's a learning curve, and if we have 150 that figured out the first time and we have 200 on the second one, then the 150 are pretty good, and the new 50 are the ones with the questions, right? So it's been fun watching this grow, and we're just getting questions kind of from the newer group that's getting involved, and as we train and teach and mentor them through it, pretty soon they're helping the others, and it's been fine. There has been a couple times where we've called an area and there's one person that bought a deal, and there's potentially 10 people in the room, and we even opened up and what did we call it that time? It was an honesty registration or something we called it, because people didn't know, or they showed up and, I didn't know I had to register, and it was already closed. So we allowed them to still go in and register and pay for that training, because we're asking that if you attend that training, you bring your registration or your ticket from Eventbrite. Even if you put 20 people, we want you to, man, if you can huddle up 10 people on your team and sit down and watch it, we just want it to be fair to everyone, that everyone there paid the same, so it's equal for all of us, and there's no punishment for attending somewhere else because of that. So we want to make sure that that's very fair and understood. So first of all, make sure if you're hosting one of those events, or someone is that you know of, that everyone that comes in just shows that they did pay, and that was one way to kind of fix that. As far as emails go, we have had people, I have personally sent it to an AOL, or actually it was a Yahoo account. It worked okay. The difference is when you're on Gmail, you automatically get a YouTube channel. And I know when you are on Yahoo or something, you have to still go and sign up and register for that channel. And there's a few other steps. And by doing that, I think we lose people. And poor Mikey gets a call and says, I don't see it, or it's not here, or it's not working. And she's not on their computer with them to walk them through it. So she's trying to just talk them through it. And if they don't, typically it's been the ones that aren't tech savvy enough that if they can't push one button and it works, then they really don't know what to do, and they just kind of freeze up. So the Gmail has been more the one-touch concept, and that's why that works. I do know some others that have worked. So it's not just specific to that, but we've even changed the registration process. Mikey's done a great job at helping to put things like a Gmail is better and things like that. So when they're registering, if they have an option between those couple of different emails, they'll use the right one. And we had one lady just open a quick Gmail, and she called it her LVA training at Gmail or something. It was awesome. And so she just made a quick email. It's free, and has been using it the last three times. So anyways, have you guys heard anything or any last comments on that? We've enjoyed watching it expand. We love watching the number of, hundreds of more people getting on. I think that will be thousands soon, probably within this year, because once we all get the word out correctly, it's been valuable to reach further, and also valuable. We had one lady who had a baby up, I think it was up by Maine, and she was just like, I'm so excited because I can still watch it even though I wasn't going to attend, for at least a month or two, until baby was big enough that she felt she could get back there personally. But I love those kind of things, solving those problems. And we also have the religious side with the Seventh-day Adventists, and some of those people who couldn't come Saturday are now getting a chance to watch it on Sunday. So we are going to tighten that up a little bit. I think leaving it open for a week's a little long. We want to try to streamline that, and after we get people taught, we'll get it back down to a fair couple days. But we just want to open it, give people a chance. So any other quick thoughts on that before we move on, you guys? Okay, so Mikey, thanks for covering that. April 20th, you guys, how did we do on things like pre-registration and topics like that. We're going to take the rest of the time and just kind of go around the horn. Let's start with Friday night real quick, and then we'll move on to Saturday. But how did Friday night work? Maybe just a quick thought, opportunity meeting. We understand that we don't want to miss a training ever. I mean, we want the leadership to be trained. If we can add an opportunity meeting before and after, that's wonderful, but let's not miss the chance to do that. I went to Texas, Kai Hayes, you guys, great job hosting out there. It was amazing. We had a wonderful meeting, beautiful home, lots of guests. The only tricky part was trying to get them out in time so we could start the leadership portion afterwards, but it was kind of powerful to say, hey, in this case, in Texas, it's Pro 3 and above to get the numbers that we need. So in this case, it was, are you Pro 3? No, well, get there quick because this training's for you when you do, right? And we kind of told them beforehand. It was nice about it, but it was fun to watch people feel like they're kind of missing something as they leave and not be able to attend. And that's kind of one thing we want is to them to really push hard to be part of that leadership team. The second thing is we want to talk to a 10, 15, 20 people that are the movers and the shakers. And that's what we did afterwards. It was effective. A lot of good questions. It was, another hour and a half to 2 hours after that opportunity meeting. And then I went in afterwards, made some changes in my training so that Saturday is more effective. After that leadership training gets done, then I know a little bit better as to what the area needs. And Saturday becomes better by having that training. So any quick thoughts on Friday night and best practices there? Go ahead and just unmute yourself and share.
Hey, Blue, this is Tony. How's everybody doing this morning? Whoops, did I get in front of somebody?
Tony, go ahead. We'll take
me.
you first, and we'll go from there. Thanks, buddy.
I was with him anyway.
Oh, Marcy, there you are. Sorry, I couldn't hear
Marcy,
another voice.
Marcy, you roll.
Go ahead, Marcy. Ladies first.
Well, I don't know what Tony was gonna say, but I just wanted to say, we had an amazing leadership gathering, and we did not do an opportunity meeting. And I have to say, I think that's really, really working right now, because in this area, it's hard traffic-wise to get everybody to a place. So for right now, we're just sticking with the leadership meeting on Friday night. We've got a fairly good attendance, and Tony did an amazing job.
Tony, go ahead. Marcy, thank you so much.
Great minds think alike. That's exactly what I was going to say. I guess it depends on the market. And, on the D.C. area, that's just really hard to gather everybody in to come in for an opportunity meeting and then go back out. But no, we did it. It was great meeting at Amy Homewood's house. We had, I think, around 25, Marcy, maybe a little bit more of leaders there in that area. And we really dug in and had great questions and great training. So, ditto.
Okay, Tony, thank you guys. And I will make that point. I will confirm that as some of you just doing leadership, and that's fine because that's really the purpose of Friday night. But we have had some areas where taking an hour to invite guests and we get 20, 30 guests in the room, that is powerful to be able to get help from the top leaders. Really what I think it's for is when you're the prophet in your own town, so to speak. Sometimes it's tough to be the presenter all the time for your own people. And when someone else is presenting, that gives you a chance to take off your presentation hat, put on your invitation hat, and invite your 10 buddies to come with you. And it opens up that door. So some areas it doesn't work travel-wise, we get it. That's why we haven't made that a mandatory thing either way. But yeah, any other thoughts? Scott, you have one, bud?
Yeah, I got a thought on Friday night, which I've always been a proponent of doing the opportunity meeting, especially when, for the cities that don't have a lot of leaders, a lot of voices. I always enjoyed and I learned a lot from watching how other people do presentations. And then I was able to reference the presentation on Saturday when I was teaching how to do a presentation. One thing I would suggest for the leaders on Friday nights, and actually it's a tip I got from Taylor Worry out of the Pro 5 Summit. So I had my 3 topics I wanted to talk about. But before I started, I went around the room. There's probably 18, 20 people here in Phoenix for the leadership meeting. And I said, what do you want to hear about? Where are you stuck? How can I help you? So I wrote those things on the whiteboard, and then I weaved those in as I was talking about my topics I wanted to talk about. But it was relatable and helpful to them, and got some good feedback on how that worked out. So that's something, rather than just sit down at your leadership meeting on Friday and, have some dinner with people and talk about whatever comes up, go in there with a little bit more purpose. Have an agenda of your topics, but then ask them what they want to hear so they feel like you're not just in there talking at them, but you're actually helping them with their problems.
Scott, thank you, bud. I think we approached that. I was just going to say, it looks like Arizona weather behind you, or maybe even Tucson weather there.
Still in Tucson,
Scott
so
came down to
I'll,
Tucson afterwards, and we've been hanging out a little bit. Yeah, that looks like Tucson to me. We've been hanging out a little bit here in Tucson. It's been a lot of fun. So I'll just kind of mimic one thing there is always go in with something to share, you guys. There's things that you own and that you're good at and that you have a skill set for that we want you to teach that team. But I do the same thing. I say, go around the horn. This is why we don't want it to be 50 people. This is why not every single city we open up to Pro 3s and above, because if you're getting 10, 15 people at a Pro 5 and above, we think that's valuable. If we need to take it to Pro 4 and above to get, 10 or 15, that's great. If we open up to Pro 3 and above and you got 25, 30 people, I think that's a little too much. So we're going to balance with the rank per city. And when you see the rotation come up on Mikey's email, you'll see the rank that has been approved to come to that event on Friday, if that helps you. But go in with something, but also ask questions, because you'll find out that your Saturday meeting might change a little bit based on the feedback that you get from those top leaders in that area. So thank you for sharing, Scott. Anybody else have a thought on Friday?
Hey, Blue, I'll share.
Go ahead, Mike. Thanks, bud.
Oh, yeah. Just to let you know, we did that on Friday night. There was about 15 to 20 people in Maine. Amazing people. And we wrote on a whiteboard and took pictures of the things that we shared. And then I took those pictures and shared a lot of that stuff on Saturday. And it was amazing. Just the feedback and the encouragement and what happened after that. I was getting pictures on Sunday of people taking action and getting together in groups and just talking about what we did. And some people did a Zoom to share with their teammates about what they learned. So, if they weren't able to get there or whatever. So yeah, the Friday night thing is amazing. And I'll just say one other thing that I've noticed has been really good. And Blue, you did this way back when you came to Tampa years ago, you would send a video introducing yourself to people so that they could be excited about what they were going to hear and who they were going to see. And I know Linda and her husband are on here. We talked about how important that was, and the numbers went up drastically after we did that. So that's encouraging to me.
Awesome. Yeah. And that's working close with the host, right? If you just send a video, it doesn't do a whole lot, but when the hosts take that video, they pass it around, they use it as a way to tell them why this one's different. We can get registrations up a lot. And if you do it before registration closes later that week, then it really does help. So thanks for doing that. And Linda and Andrew Files, thanks for jumping on and helping out in Maine. That was great. I think I see the Jake's on here as well. Thanks both of you guys for jumping in and helping. Amanda Brooks has been awesome out there, but we appreciate you guys helping out as well. So I just wanted to recognize that you guys are on here as well. So any other thoughts?
This is Jason.
Good morning, Blue. This is Bert.
Bert, go ahead, buddy. You got the floor.
All right, thank you. Hey, I was out in North Platte. It was absolutely phenomenal. It's Pro 3 and up out there. It's a growing area. And what was cool is that we did a Zoom presentation to the whole group. So Bob and Muffy actually promoted it. So we did a little quick Zoom just to promote the LVA coming up. And it was open to everybody. Get on here and listen to what we get to have and what we're doing for this weekend. So it was great. I didn't catch how many participants were on there, but I do know there was several people that really enjoyed that. Zoom's a great tool to do something like that. So we didn't do a video, but we did a live Zoom. So they got to ask a few questions from Bob and Muffy, not open it up to everybody. So I think that was very valuable. And we did exactly the same thing, talking about what they need specifically in that area. I've always done that because every area, they just find some things in commonality that's going on in that area that they would like to work on and help their teams work through. So I just have to say what a great energy in North Platte. Even though the flooding, bridges were out, we still had probably 50, 55 people in the room, and we pre-registered 41 or 2 of them. So it was an awesome event.
Awesome. Bert, thanks for sharing. And thank you guys as presenters and hosts to put in that extra time. I mean, that's time that we don't require, but by all means, man, if you put in that little extra time, 30 minutes, an hour the week beforehand, makes the event better. We appreciate that. We recognize too that you guys put in that time and do that. So any other quick thoughts on Friday? Thank you, Bert.
Hey, Blue, it's Sarah.
Terry, go ahead.
We had James Hayden. James, I know you're on. You totally rocked it. And it was just what was really amazing about we just focused on leadership on Friday. The area doesn't have a lot of growth that's happening as far as guests in the room, some people are building online, but a lot of people kind of come together in the Portsmouth area. So we focused on the leadership meeting. And we had two, professionals sit in on their very first LVA and their very first leadership meeting. And they've built multiple organizations. They've seen, they're pros in the industry. And what they loved about it, one was that the meeting was so small, but also that the system in place and the leadership really comes down to two components. And it's showing up with excellence and integrity, no matter who you are, whether you're whatever elite rank you are and whatever profession you are, you're just showing up with these really fine qualities. So it was just really fun to have their take on their first experience, in a round table like that. And so it was really awesome. So great work, James.
Yeah, James, I've had such good feedback from that event. And just so you guys are aware, we had a couple of people we've been working with for 6 months to a year, probably, Sarah, that wrote books in the industry. And so we thought it would be best for them to attend that leadership meeting. And so it was, frankly, one of them, I think, signed up months ago and it hit rank to be there. So we're talking big leaders in the industry. And it was just fun to be able to watch them come in and have someone like James, who's new in the industry, great story, come in and do the training. And that's what I love most about this is we learn from everybody, and we just bring people to all the meetings. Don't try to figure out who's the best or highest rank or what needs to happen. And you'll find that those nuggets will come when they're needed, and it's powerful. So James, thank you, and Sarah, thanks for sharing as well. So
yeah, thank you guys. Thank you, Sarah. You did an awesome job getting that video out ahead of time on Facebook Live. So had a lot of fun. So allowing me to do it.
Yeah, we appreciate all you guys. Well, any other thoughts on Friday night? If you keep going, if you do want to, if Saturday opens up, let's talk a little bit on Saturday, things that worked out well or things that we need to discuss. Let's go ahead and just open up both days, and then I want to close with pre-registration concepts. If you have things that worked to get pre-registration as well, we'll use those in the finishing up these conversations as well. So go ahead.
Blue, I had one comment. I was talking with Patty Goolsby. She couldn't be on. She had other commitments this morning. We actually do the film for the live online LVA through the Denver market. And Jason did an absolutely phenomenal job. It was just wonderful. But there was some questions that was asked to him during the presentation, and he was kind enough to answer them and that, but boy, it sure throws off the flow for that video, it actually could take the presenter off a track too. If they were a relatively new presenter, it could really throw them off a track. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, thanks for your feedback. We can tee up, excuse me, we can tee up that market a little bit too and say, hey, this is being recorded. Let's, hold questions to the end a little bit. We could watch that, but me, part of me feels that if it's the appropriate question and with the appropriate subject, by all means, the person watching might have the same question. So there's a delicate balance there of, and it does take a good presenter to stay on track, answer the question, get back on track. Maybe if we make sure those questions stay relevant to the topic. If you're talking on the invite and you're told to hold questions to the end, and then by the time you get to the end, that question may actually be more of a backtrack than doing it right then. But if they can at least ask questions that are relevant to the topic, I don't know exactly what happened there or where, but I agree. Jason is one of the ones that would be perfect to handle that. We can do a little bit of the editing. It just takes time when we start looking through and fixing on the video side before we send it out. Steve Fisher's been amazing at turning that into a masterpiece. So, but that feedback is very well heard and understood. So thank you so much. So.
Absolutely. And the answer to that was,
what video? I'll share in 1 minute. Bert, go ahead and finish up, and then
Okay. No. So what we talked about is they just need to make sure they have the mic ready because the questions couldn't be heard, through the video. So that was something that we talked about just internally to be able to make that a better event for the online.
I got you. The questions weren't heard. Okay, I might not have understood that, so I'm sorry, Bert. But that's perfect answer. And let's just fix it right now as a presenter. If you're presenting there, just whatever the question is, if there's not a mic in their hand, just repeat the question and then clearly answer it. And I think it'll be heard better on the actual video. Someone asked what video. What that video is in Denver. We filmed the event. We edit it, we correct it, we correct it. Hope we don't have to correct it. We put it into a format that we could get out to everybody for the next LVA, and that's the video that we use, or the recording that we use for the online training the following month. So that's the video that we're talking about. It's not for everyone. We don't just spit it out there. That it's what we require them to register for and pay for, and then we send that link out. It's open, and that's if we do it correctly, if we all rotate through Denver, they'll hear a different presenter for almost 2 years, and so it's pretty powerful. But that's the video we're talking about. So, any other thoughts, guys?
Blue, Joe Houston here.
Joe, go ahead, buddy.
Joe, go ahead, brother. What's up, my brother? Hey, I joined late, so I don't know what else has been said, but I just wanted to throw out, pretty consistently throughout all of the speakers, it seems that we need a potty break in the middle, maybe, and break it up a little bit. So I don't know if there's a matter of protocol for the speakers that potentially can be broken up into segments. Oftentimes in Northern California, it seems like, and again, I'm only bringing it up because it seems consistent with everyone. With all the speakers, that oftentimes recognition gets done towards the very end, and if we have another speaker, it kind of tends to end up being towards the end, and so there's it's just not broken up into segments, and everyone always leaves every LVA saying, "Oh my gosh, that was great," but you see and feel the energy in the room getting a little bit tired, or people feel like they have to step out to the body and they're going to miss something. So I guess my suggestion is that as a matter of protocol, maybe we could have 3 segments where it breaks and people have an ability to stand up and stretch your legs or whatever.
Yeah, Joe, and I appreciate that because we got hey Joe, mute your line real quick. I think it's feeding back in. There you go, buddy. What we dealt with this in the past quite a bit actually, and we've tried for a long time a potty break, and it turned in from a 5 to 10 minute break. Some areas couldn't get them back for 30 minutes, and it was just tough. We lost a lot of time, and then we had a big number of people saying, I paid this much money and lost potentially a lot of time. I do agree. People are going to have to take a break, including the speaker, probably within that 4 hours. So here's what we've done to fix it. Really, we have a local presenter that if the host is working real good with the presenter, there should be someone locally that takes 10 to 15 minutes on a topic. And if we do a good job, we should put that not just at the end, but it should be somewhere. I try to meet that person on Friday, or I talk to them before I get there. I find out what their topic is. If their topic is the why or their invite or the follow-up, I'll put it right in the program where it goes. I'll let them teach that topic. I'll still piggyback off of it and keep going. But I try to put it at about the 1.5 to 2 hour mark, where I can go take a quick break. Everyone in the room, there's a little bit of downtime. We don't want people to go all during that time, but I just tell them up front, hey, there's one bathroom. The issue typically is there's one bathroom, and if we break 80 people at once, that's where the 30 minutes comes in. So if we just let them run out and run back in as needed, and tell them beforehand, you're able to do so without any disrespect from us. We get it, right? It's a 4-hour training. And then we always put the recognition wherever you see fit. I'll usually do mine a little bit more at the end if we did a good job at breaking it up with the local presenter. So make sure they're having a local presenter. That kind of helps. Let them know beforehand that they're welcome to leave and come back. And I think we've been having better success with that than we have a full break and taking more time away. But that's kind of where we ended up last time. If anyone else has thoughts, you're welcome to. Joe, go ahead. You have another thought.
Well, and Blue, I confirm what you say. I fully agree. So by potty break, it doesn't need to be like, hey, we're going to break and go to potty. It's exactly what you just said. But having it like in the mind of the speakers that every hour and a half to 2 hours,
Stand and stretch or something.
It's either recognition or it's the local speaker, but intentionally doing that as part of their format, so that during those transitions, people feel it's reasonable to get up and go to the bathroom, as opposed to
Awesome.
right being in the middle of the row. You get it.
So all the presenters on the call, that's great. Great feedback for presenters. Absolutely. And
Blue, I want to say.
Go ahead. Is it Marcy?
Yeah, it's Marcy. So in Bethesda, we really like to take a break. And we had one presenter that came through and he was like, I don't take breaks. Like, there's no breaks. And so I did it, and I got a lot of pushback because I have to say, like, I think it depends on the market. In our market, it's a 10-minute break, and literally everybody has their tushy in the seat 10 minutes. Like, I'm counting 5, 4, 3, 2, and they're running back. Tony, will you attest to that? They do it. So, I mean, I really think it's, and I play music. I mean, like, it's like really you get a break. And I think what happens in our 10 minutes isn't as much potty, because I tell everybody to go to the bathroom when they need to go. It's the connections. It's meeting the people that are next to you that you don't know. And I think that's where our community really gets built in those 10 minutes. It makes a huge difference.
Well, the biggest thing you want to do too is be on board with the presenter and host together. What we don't want is a presenter saying no breaks, because that's what we've all decided as a committee here. And then we have one, and then we have an issue. We were trying to avoid any heartache and those things. So I do agree that there's some people like you, Marcy, that can run a break time very well, and others don't. They're just maybe, it's just the lagging or come on in, and it just takes time. I will say that this, as a general rule, overall, the break they're going to have is the speaker, a stand and stretch. Maybe the presenter could be advised that, hey, it works really well. I'll keep them back in their seat. Role play works. We have a couple of people doing role play that seems to break it up and gets the actual conversations going. That sometimes works. And so just get on the page with the person. And as of right now, as a group, we're not promoting breaks just because we had such a big issue with that when we did it before. But we are definitely, we definitely won't want people to, we don't want to lose them halfway through either. So let's find ways, if we build it how we have it in our little chart, we have a local presenter, we speak, we break it down, we have recognition, there should be enough stand and stretch time. And then the meeting after the meeting, we can hang out, get to meet people and do that kind of stuff. So that's the general guidelines. And if we need to talk outside of that, we can. But I love it, man. There's so many personalities. Some people are great at saying, when I say 10 minutes, I mean it, and it works. Others say 10 minutes and literally it's 30 minutes before they get talking again. So that's why we're voting that. But great feedback, you guys. Anything else on Saturday?
Yeah, Blue. Stephen from Oklahoma. And just want to make a comment on the recognition. A leader in the room, came to me afterwards, and I think that's another time where people can get to know each other. A lot of people in the room don't know each other. So just want to kind of emphasize making that a significant element. So anyway, that's all.
Yeah. Thank you. See, that's awesome. I appreciate you guys got that. That's a key point for sure.
Hey, Blue.
Anything else, guys? Mark, go ahead, bud.
Hey, bud. Just a sec, piggyback off the back of what you just said about role playing. And this came as a result of actually listening in on a team call for a Crossline team after an LVA that I had just presented, and I was curious to hear their takeaways. And what was fascinating was a fellow elite was sharing on that call, and they had a really hard time articulating any content that I had shared. They were very positive, very encouraging, loved me and loved the time. But I thought, okay, something's not right here. The point is not for them to love me. The point is for them to learn and be able to then take that and apply it, right? So I read a book called Make It Stick. I forget the author, but he was talking about the necessity in teaching of getting people to actually apply as they're learning. And I realized 4 hours of me spewing knowledge was not going to be retentive in any easy way. So I started putting intentional interactive stuff like role playing, and we do a thing that's kind of Tony Robbins, Eric Worre, change of state kind of thing, and we do an affirmation thing and role plays. And those 3 exercises, and I've stolen Bert Du Bois's what 5 things would make the what 5 things would make the people that you love most the biggest difference. And we actually do that exercise if we have time. So those 3 or 4 things I find give people that need to go take an Axio break, they have time to do that. And in a practical way, it means the presenter is not the bad guy. They're not, trying to blow a whistle, get people back in, but people have to go. They can use that time as well. So that was just a practical thing that was win-win, both on retention and giving people a break that didn't want to miss anything, but that needed to run out to the hallway and come back. So I want to share that.
Yeah, great idea. As a presenter, that's your time and to figure out a way to do that. And absolutely, that's great. I think Peter Brown was I think there's a few people that wrote that book, but that was one of the authors of that. I remember reading parts of that. But you guys were at about 45 minutes. Any other thoughts? I want to make sure we get these out. This is great time. If you'll write these down and use it, and really listen for your part. If you're a host, there's hostings that you can do better. I want you to grab that out of here. If you're a presenter, then grab those tips as well. We used to kind of divide these up, and a lot of this good advice got shared independently of each other, and we didn't know what was going on. So I think bringing this together helps. And so, but I don't want the calls to drag on too much longer because of it. But any other thoughts, you guys? We'd love, any best practices. This is a good from the
Hey, Blue, it's Dan.
Dan, there you are. I see you. Go ahead.
Awesome suggestions, awesome call. I've heard nothing but good things all across multiple regions. It's, I think that it's really tightening up, and people are understanding the value of having that once a month shot of belief in the arm from different personalities. One thing that I tried to focus on as much as possible, and I really like the idea of doing a Zoom call about 2 weeks before, with the local host and their team, just to inspire, so they get to know the person who's coming, the personality, because you never know, that personality might connect with somebody that may have been kind of out of the game for a while, or they're checking it out, and that personality will connect, as well as reinforcing pre-registration. I tried to be as thorough as possible, because in the beginning, 10 years ago when we started this, when we were growing 300% year over year, the belief of having a local leader come every single month was bringing hundreds of people to these events, and that's why we were having the growth. Those live events are awesome. It's great that we have the virtuals for people that are outside of 6 to 12 hours of training. But, in my opinion, I think that as hosts and as presenters, I think it's very important that we, I don't want to say beat a dead horse, but if you will, reiterate the fact that pre-registration is what not only keeps the training in the market, but it creates the excitement and the proper behaviors of doing what you say you're going to do, staying in control of your business, but more importantly, walking the talk. It's hard for us for people to promote something that they haven't already done yet. So if we have a room full of committed people, and I'm not saying that everybody in the room needs to buy 5 tickets, but if we can, as hosts and presenters, paint the picture of, just adding one more person to the car. Like, I asked the question a lot in those presentations, like how many people feel that it would be benefit that they had one more person with them in their team, and everybody would agree with that. And breaking it down to, it's like, what, 4 hours of your time on a Saturday and $6.25 an hour to learn from somebody who's earned anywhere from $100,000 a year to $100,000 a month has been, hugely impactful. So, and I mean, those kind of break it up as well. I try to do that at least 3 or 4 times throughout the presentation. So people that have already pre-regged and those that haven't committed, the ones that have already pre-reg can literally go and, take their bathroom break if they have to, and the other people that are on the fence can kind of pre-reg. So that kind of breaks it up a little bit as well. But I think that as hosts and presenters, we need to be very diligent in promoting the next event. And for lack of better words, relentless about it. We had about 72 people in Missoula, Montana, and at the end of the event, we had about almost 70 people pre-reg. And it's because of painting the picture like that. So I just wanted to share that thought. Promoting these events is absolutely vital, and it's part of the behaviors. You know, that's how we're going to grow the team. So I just wanted to share that. Thanks for the time, Blue.
You betcha. That's why I love you, Dan. He broke it down to the hour, $6.20 an hour. I don't think of it that way, but I think that's a powerful way to realize what you're getting for your money. Appreciate those. And I will, I'll say this. Yeah, we don't want people buying 5, 10 tickets, and that was going around for a while. And then people ending up with 10 tickets trying to sell at the door, and it just got a little bit tough. But one extra ticket, if you buy 2, I think that's awesome, because what that does is we don't end up with a bunch of empty seats, but what it does is it takes the responsibility that normally gets placed on the host to go make sure we have the numbers in an area and all that stuff. It spreads it out to everybody, because if everyone in the room has a burning desire to bring one new person with them, and what a great business plan when you enroll somebody, right? If you take all the information that you learned at LVA and enroll one new person in 30 days, right? That's a minimum goal, I would think. Give that one person the ticket you brought, bring them with you. Man, what a powerful way to grow an area where everyone in the room is trying to grow that area. And if you do that, if everyone in the room will buy 2, you'll double the event size the next month, right? You'll at least add a third or 2 to that, because you won't be waiting for the support host to gather up the troops again for the meeting, but you'll have everyone in the room taking ownership of that city. So great advice. And that's kind of the way I push it, is just to say, I don't want you to buy 5, but go buy 1. If you're going to buy 3 or 5, then you better be real committed to go find people, because I don't want empty seats. The last thing I want is a paid-for seat that no one's sitting in. That's not our goal. Our goal is to have people in those seats learning and growing their business. But if everyone bought 1 extra, man, that's powerful. So just some thoughts on any other retention ideas or registration ideas before we close here, guys?
Yeah, good morning, Blue. This is Jason.
Jason, go for it, buddy.
Yeah, so just along all these video things that we've been talking about, which I love, whether it's the pre-recorded Zoom or a pre-recorded video, a lot of these groups that we can go into do have Facebook groups for their entire team, which I really, really encourage you, if you guys could do an area Facebook, so for instance, in all the Colorado area or whatever state that you're in, because then what happens is when they upload those Zoom calls or you do a Facebook Live, that allows you to see a continual revolving door of that video constantly being a reminder in the couple weeks before the LVA. And what ends up happening is these people start tagging their team and saying, hey, watch this video. Hey, watch this video. And so what it keeps doing is it keeps bumping up that video in Facebook and the algorithms. And so ultimately, they don't just see that video one time, but they keep seeing it being bumped to the top of the feed in that local group. And so it's a constant reminder. And what that ultimately does is that helps us to get more pre-registration. And so I really like the Facebook groups, because a Zoom call is great, but it's one time. A Facebook Live or uploading a Zoom call to a particular group in Facebook world helps it to be a continual reminder, because they're seeing it as people are commenting and tagging their teammates throughout the time. They're seeing it constantly be brought up to the very top of everything, and it just works a lot better. You'll see the registrations go a lot higher in that market than if you just do a one-time video where they only see it once. They don't have any opportunity to look at it. So just a food for thought on that.
Jason, great advice, man. I love you're one of the ones I lean to on social media and Facebook, because I've seen you do it right. And I love the fact that we can use that tool the right way. And man, if we can get someone to see a video over and over again and have it continue to come up top and scroll, when they scroll and it pops up again and again, and we're going to have a lot of times where people can be reminded over and over again. And so send that video. Let's get it on all those avenues. I mean, we've had some really good people too that have team, our team Tucson is an awesome connection for that. I mean, there's 5 different or six now different teams here from all over the country, but they're all connected through that one Facebook page. And so it's an easy way to get that out to everyone. So any final thoughts before we close out, guys? I appreciate you taking the time today. It's middle of the day. I know that it's a lot for you to get on, but thanks for doing that.
Yeah, real quick,
Summer,
with Summer.
You want to talk, Summer? Go ahead. Yeah, you're unmuted. Go for it.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Dan, because he did exactly what he was talking about just a few minutes ago about jumping on a Zoom call with the local community right before he came into town to do that meeting or to do the LifeVantage Academy was incredibly powerful. And the reason why I can say that, because he did that with our group. He was gracious enough to spend 10 minutes of his time just jumping on a Zoom call with everybody. It got him so excited and fired up, on top of already being excited to go with anyway, that they continue to buy more tickets and they continue to invite more people, because then they saw the ability of, oh my gosh, I know so-and-so who absolutely needs to see him regardless if they're involved in the company or not. But he's going to relate to them in some way. And so it got the wheels turning for them. It was a phenomenal thing that he did. And the Missoula numbers were rocking. So that was pretty neat. And we're just super grateful for his leadership and his graciousness to jump on a call with us just for a few minutes.
Yeah, Dan, thank you. And Summer, thanks for sharing that. You and Rob are doing a great job up there. And my only downfall, just to tee off of that, is I follow Dan around this rotation. So we used to go follow him around and clean up his mess. Now I'm following him around and they're like, oh man, send that guy back because this blue guy's messing stuff up. We laugh about, what was the last one, Dan? Nuts and bolts, right? They send the bolts first and then the nuts second. So they get the fun stuff and good stuff with Dan, and then we just bring the excitement. But it's good stuff.
I still think that you're the bolts, Blue. I'm the nuts. Sure.
Either way, we'll get it covered between the two of us. So
exactly.
It just takes 2 weekends to have to attend to get it all. That's all. Anything else, guys? I want to respect your time. I sure appreciate you guys jumping on. Any other thoughts before we close? Okay. Thank you guys so much. A couple of you jumping off here. Again, I just want to reiterate, I know the time that you're taking to do this. We appreciate it. We respect it. My phone's open if you need to call me personally on anything going on or any way I can help. Send an email to Mikey if there's something going on that end, then she can get it back to one of us if needed. But thank you guys so much. We'll close the call out, and we'll try to do this consistently on this time after each LVA. So if you can kind of look at LVA, put this in your books, we'll get the attendance up a little higher as well as we make this a consistent call. So thank you guys very much. Give me a call if you need me. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Blue.
Thank you so much, you guys. You have a good week.
God bless everybody.
Thanks,
Thank you, Bert.
Bert.
Love ya.
Bye, Mark.
Bye,
See you, Mark.
guys.
Bye, guys.
Marcy, thanks for your input.